Hello. Okay, I'm going to, as always, test these comments. Perfect. Good. Found the video. As always, test these comments. Cool. Okay, it looks like it's coming through. I'll give you guys a minute to pop on, but if you are here, just say hello so I'm sure I'm making yours. Ah, Becca! Oh my gosh, it's working. I feel like I could cry that these comments are working. This is amazing. Amazing. So yes, if you are, yay, Akitsa, holy crap. You guys, this is going to be so much fun. I love talking about human design. This used to be, I learned about this probably almost 4 years ago now. And at first I rejected it. And then it has just become such an important part of my life. But once I got really into it, hi, maybe Anna or Anna. Once I got into it, I would just like launch into talking about it with anyone that would listen to me. So this is so much fun to actually be able to share it. And I kind of get to the space where I feel like, I just feel like people already know all the things that I talk about with it. So I'm just, to get the interest that you guys have shared in this group. And, already people saying, oh, here's my profile, but I don't know what the numbers mean. Like all this stuff just makes me so, so happy to be able to bring this information to you. It's such a game changer. So for anyone, that hasn't pulled their chart yet, no biggie, just I would highly recommend doing that. And there are different levels of understanding your chart. So obviously you can get a one-on-one like private reading. I have some of those. There's a link in this live for that. But also there's tons of like free resources. There's tons of, this is like blowing up. So there's tons of readers. And I'm also going to be, and I'll talk about this at the end, but I have a 2-hour workshop that I've run a few times that just teaches you how to walk around a chart and understand like all the things that you need to know to be able to look at your chart or anyone else's and really just understand like where to begin and what the energy is like. I'm going to take off these earrings because they are banging against my headphones. Cool. So anyway, if you're just joining, feel free to say hello. If you already know questions that you have that are pressing, definitely put them in the chat. I will do my best to get to everything. But I'm going to start with just a few conversation starters around human design. So if you are unfamiliar, what is human design? And the way I like to think about it is it's an invitation to flow with life instead of allowing life to just like come at you or just happen to you or just knock you over. So some say that it's like the contract that your soul made with the universe or God or your higher power before coming to this earth, which I think is a really beautiful sentiment because that really speaks to the idea that if you're here right now, your soul chose to be here right now. And we all are feeling it. It's wild times right now. And it's not over and it won't be over and there's no going back. So there's this, sense of awakening that I think we are all experiencing and collectively feeling, whether we feel it very strongly or subtly. But just a reminder that your soul, if you are here right now, your soul chose to be here right now in an earth body. Hi, Vanessa, welcome. So that's one thing. But specifically, human design is a comprehensive system. It's a combination of several modalities. So Eastern and Western astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah, quantum physics. There's one more thing. And the chakra system. So it can go super, super, super deep, and which is amazing. Though we don't really need to know all the nitty gritty about our charts to be able to engage with it in a way and find alignment in our own lives. I've been reading charts for a long time. I've been studying this for a long time. There are still levels that I haven't reached, in terms of understanding it all the way. And it has greatly changed my life. So yeah, just know that there are different ways to engage with it and different amounts of, it's like I don't know if you've received a birth chart reading from astrology, from the astrology side, but it's like when you get a reading from somebody from your birth chart, you take sort of what like is lighting you up or making sense to you in the moment, and then you could go back to that same reading like 3 years later and receive different information just from that single reading. That's how human design is too. So the first thing that you want to know is your energy type. So in my post earlier today, I was asking if you guys know what your energy type is. It was really fun to see in the comments how the energy types really seem to reflect the general cadence of percentage-wise of what the energy types are in this world, which is funny. So for example, generators and manifesting generators make up the bulk of the population. Manifestors are a lower percentage at 8-ish%, and projectors are around 20%. Nobody said reflector, and reflector is 1%. I actually just realized that one of my friends from years ago is a reflector, and when I just found out, I like freaked out on her and was like, "You are a unicorn." So anyway, it was kind of interesting to see that showing up in our group as well, just the general cadence. But yeah, the energy type is similar to the concept of your sun sign in astrology. So it's like the essence of who you are. With human design, it's really important. Like if you spent most of your time aligning with your energy type and your strategy and authority, which if you've pulled your chart, you'll see that in words. Those 3 things are like the top 3 things you need to do, connect with, get your life in alignment with. And everything else will just like sort of naturally fall into place because you'll be really operating from this flow state. So like I was saying, you can go super deep. And I recently received my own reading. So again, years after getting into this work, I had only done my own readings, but I recently received my own reading. And I love, hearing about all the nuances of who I am and what makes me me, because it gives me awareness, and it also gives me this sense of permission to really like let go of the other stuff and like hone in on those things. However, if I didn't have that information, I would still know a lot. Oh, Charles, hello, projector reporting for duty. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Yay, thank you for letting us know. I'm not sure if you heard the earlier part about projectors, but I'm only about 20% of the population. So you are, I think I may have told you separately in a comment that projectors are like my secret favorite. But anyway, when I found out I was a generator, I was deeply, deeply sad. But I'll get into the energy types. This is a perfect segue. So anyway, understanding your energy type is, it's just super key. It's like it's the first thing that you need to do. So there are 5 types. 2 types create energy. 2 types don't create energy. It's all about the relationship to energy. So 2 types do not create their own energy, and 3 types create their own energy. So I'll start with the types that don't create their own energy. The first one being, we'll talk about projectors. So projectors, like I said, 20% of the population. They're so special. So projectors kind of operate as like the birds of our society. So the way that I like to talk about them is that they kind of see things from a different point of view. So thinking about how a bird can see things from an elevated point of view and see big picture stuff. Projectors' auras are very focused. So when you're with a projector and they're talking to you, they're very focused in on you. Their aura is, it's just very specific. And so their role here is, because they see things in a different and unique way, their role is to, instead of creating energy, they tweak energy and modify things and they are really good at getting into a certain system, getting into, again, seeing into people in a very specific way. So if you're a projector, it's important that you harness and cultivate whatever that thing is that is really unique to you, that you could just sit on your couch and like dive in research wise, like the thing that you can't stop like diving into and learning. A lot of human design readers are projectors because they're able to see in this very specific way. That doesn't mean you can't be, obviously, doesn't mean you can't be a reader if you're not a projector. Because projectors can see things in such a unique way, you often see them kind of innovating systems. So I think of like, and I'm not really sure about this, but this is just an example. Before Uber and Lyft were around, I'm assuming that people who are part of that creation there may have been a projector on the team with that kind of idea where they're just like seeing a system that's broken and they found a way to fix it. And it was very natural for them to see things in that way. The special thing about projectors is that because you have all this information, because you can easily see things a different way, you may want to share it with people. And if you look at your strategy, it is wait for the invitation. The thing is, when you are sharing stuff with people that you can just see and they can't, they actually need to create space within them for that information to land. That's the energetic of it. The way it looks to you is if you're sharing information and people aren't ready for it, if they didn't ask ask you to share, then they will be bitter. You might feel bitter. It just won't land very well. As a child, it's common to be called bossy or considered, like a know-it-all or something like that because you've like inserted yourself in areas that you really shouldn't yet. So yeah, being a projector as a kid, obviously there's just like different, this is like such good information. You need to know this for your children, for your friends, for your family. Anyway, I'm that person who, when I was at work, I would, I got my entire team's information so that I could help understand how our dynamic flowed together. But anyway, all that to say, that's just a little bit about projectors. You don't create your own energy. You have a lot of openness. So if you're looking at your chart and you see a lot of white spaces, whether it's the bigger shapes or the lines connecting, everywhere, and this is for everyone, everywhere that you are white, you are taking in from the outside world and amplifying it within your system. So thinking about how empathic some of us are, just noticing that those areas in your chart you are going to be taking in from the outside world, and you need to find, particularly projectors and reflectors, because they don't create energy, you have to find space and time to release everything from the outside world, everything from the people that you're around. I always suggest, if you are a projector or reflector, that if you have a partner, that you spend some time not sleeping with them, like next to them. So truly like giving your body like a clean aura space to be. So for example, or if you're a manifestor, because you don't have your sacral is not defined, but that's going deeper. So if you're a manifestor, a reflector, or a projector, it's helpful. My husband's actually a manifestor, so he sometimes goes to bed later than me and sleeps in later than me. And so he gets these like couple of hours where my energy that's just constantly being created isn't affecting his aura. So anyway, but yeah, projectors, take the time to release the world. Be sensitive, like you are sensitive, and you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be sensitive energy so you can know what to do with it. But yeah, just if you have any other questions about that, you can pop something in. So I'll go into reflectors. Again, 1% of the population. They are basically, I call them, they're basically like unicorns because they seem like they don't exist. Reflectors are they're completely white. So they're white meaning open. So all of their energy centers, those larger shapes, are open. They do have like gates and stuff like that, but they don't have any channels that are connecting the two. Not that you need to know all that detail right now. They are truly here to reflect. So they're sort of the mirrors of our society. They're here to to reflect back the health of their community. So a reflector's environment is really, really important. Environment meaning their work environment, obviously their home, the people they surround themselves with. Reflectors have a really unique, they're just super unique. And they also, their strategy is to, this is going to sound so wild if you're not into this stuff yet, but their strategy is to wait a lunar cycle, so 28-ish days, to make any bigger decisions. So when they're presented with something or calling something into their life and something shows up, they are to wait that time. And what's interesting with reflectors is that they will, once they start tuning into this, they'll notice that their life kind of works in these cyclical themes. There will be like a theme per each 28-day cycle that they'll be working with. So as a reflector, it's really about like, making sure you have a lot of time. Not even, I'm saying time's like a whole other thing, but it's more just that intentional space where they're not called like bringing in from the outside world, so that they can be, so that they can have some sense of stillness to be able to understand and be able to discern what these systems are, what these cycles are. But reflectors, because they don't have anything that's like deeply defining them, they're also like chameleons. They're the ones that, again, they're reflecting the health of their community. So when they're around different people, they're going to show up in different ways. So the reflector that I know, I worked with her back in my design career, and it's interesting because she like picks up all these like different hobbies. Like she got really creative and artistic for a while, and then she's like into strategy for a while, and it's just very it all depends on kind of like the group that she's around. So anyway, as projectors don't generate their own energy, what source would a projector draw on during their work? Physical, energetic, etc. So if I'm understanding this, there's a couple of things. If you're a projector there are a couple of energy centers that do give you some energy. So like your root, the very bottom one, if that is defined, you're going to have this like pressure to get things started and get things going. The big thing is that it's not that you like walk around not feeling energetic. It's actually you pick up from the different people that you're around. So actually, even just us being on this, me being on this live and you tuning in, you're actually picking up my generator sacral energy. And so you'll notice that when you leave somebody who creates their own energy, you might feel a burst of inspiration or just energy to like go on about your day. But it's important that you don't try to sustain that like generators and manifesting generators. So generators and manifesting generators are like, because we create our own energy, we are considered like, people would call us like the workhorse of society. So we actually just have the energy to sustain a lot of work or a lot of engagement. Actually, the 9-to-5 thing was built off the backs of generators. As we are moving into this like next paradigm, that idea of us being like the worker bees and other, the other types not doing those things is becoming null and void. It's really, we need to be doing work that is, or engaging in life in a way that is energizing for us too. So we need to be really lit up by what we're doing. That's a key thing for generators and manifesting generators. But projectors get to dip in, to other people's energy. So one of my really good friends is a projector. I go to her for a lot when I need advice. I do notice when she gives me advice without me asking it, I'll feel like a little like icky. And then I'm like, oh wait, she just like offered that to me and I wasn't ready to receive. And we just have a good enough dynamic where I can say that to her. But after we connect, it like she gets a ton of energy from it. But for you, it's just really, really important that you give yourself the downtime. Some people say that projectors are supposed to work like 3. I'm a projector. Yes. Okay, that's another thing. Projectors often are living as generators because the whole world is built off of that. You think that that's what it's supposed to be like. And you see other people who have all this energy and keep going. I mean, in general, all of us need more downtime. So that's just like a blanket statement. But one of the reasons why projectors are such a sweet spot for me is because it's so against the way our society is running right now. But it's the way of the future. So it's really cool because it's like you're bringing this this future forward sort of way of being just by like being yourself. And the more you can align with it, the more life will feel aligned for you. So Charles, because I know a little bit about what you do, I know that you practice you're an EPT practitioner. Charles and I both studied the same modality. And for you, instead, like as a way to wait for the invitation, it would be important for you to create space where people can come and learn about what you do. And for projectors, they're supposed to just get really good at the thing that they're really good at. So whatever it is that like gets you super lit up, and we'll just use our modality as that example, you just focus on being really, really good at that. My healer is actually also a projector. And that energy of you just being really freaking good and not going out and trying to get people is going to be in alignment for you. People will come to you. So, and then in creating spaces, really like having an online scheduler so that, that sounds really basic, but it's like people are actually going in and like giving you the permission. They're setting up time with you so that you can then project for them. So I hope that makes sense. But yes, any type of, any person that's experiencing burnout needs to rest. And that's just your body's way of letting you know that you need to rest. That's a pretty basic concept. But projectors often will even have health issues. Their bodies it'll be much harder on their bodies than it will be for a generator or manifesting generator, or even a manifester. But manifestors also don't have the sacral defined. So you're so welcome. So yes, you need to be aware of that. They do say, one last thing about projectors, they do say that projectors should be working like 3 hours a day. When I heard that, I was like, first of all, I want to be a projector. First of all, I thought I was a projector because I was like, I see things really special. But there are different like projector gates. And again, we're all moving toward this new paradigm. So you're seeing more qualities of that showing up in more of us. But that's not my energy type. So, okay, I'll move on. I feel like I didn't expect to talk so long on each one. So please feel free to ask your questions as I'm going, so I make sure I get them. So the next type that we'll talk about, so I'll talk about generators. Generators are, let me do generators first. And then I'll do manifestors. Cool. Okay, so generators are, they make up about 34% of the population. Manifesting generators, as you can kind of tell, are a combination of two types. And they make up the other 34 that gives us the bulk of the population. So generators are here to create energy, to create life force energy. Our sacral is defined, and which is the square, I think it's the red square right above the bottom energy center. And it is super, 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 super important. This is what I had to learn, that you're really lit up by what you're doing, that everything in your life, whether it is your job, your partner, your food that you're eating, the stuff in your home, like all these things need to light you the fuck up. We are here to create beautiful energy for the rest of the world. And when we are lit up by what we're doing, you're unstoppable. Like I could seriously work all day, all night, because I'm just like psyched about what I'm doing. Obviously we all need rest. So then my body will tell me that we need rest, or, there's all other things. Obviously there's like relationships and things like that in your life. So maybe work isn't the only thing, but a generator is somebody who you might catch yourself when you get really tuned into something that you're excited about, or maybe it's even just like a creative project and you can just like lose yourself in it. That is sort of the energy of the generator. Now, a generator can still work and have the energy for work on things that they don't like. We have been conditioned to believe that you just have to choose a job and stick with it for the rest of your life and be grateful that you have it. But what happens if you're not lit up by it is that instead of bringing this beautiful energy to the world, you're bringing this frustration and feeling stuck. And generators often feel like life is just going to like pass them by, or like they feel like they've failed at something because they've tried to like go out and make something happen and it didn't work out. That's not energetically correct for generators. Generators and manifesting generators, in terms of their strategy, is is to wait to respond. And so, or is to respond. I always say wait to respond. So the way that that is different from a projector where it's wait for the invitation, that's waiting for someone to open space within them to hear what you have to say, or what you have to deliver. When for a generator, it's truly this energy of like co-creating with the universe or God or your higher power, whatever you like to call it. So say I really, like for me, I don't know, it's coming forward, maybe it's because I went on vacation, but say I'm like looking, I really want to go on vacation somewhere. And so I just kind of think about it in my mind. Maybe I say it out loud, maybe I write it down, maybe it goes on my intentions, something like that. And then you wait for external things to bring something to you to respond to. So that would be like your partner's like, hey, I think we should go on vacation. And then you have to tune into how you feel about it. Is that a hell yes, or is that a no? Or is it like a maybe? So those are kind of the things. Generators have to really have to tune into what is really exciting them. So one of the big things that I tell generators, and I do this myself, I've even talked about it in this group, is clearing out from your aura everything that's a no. So sometimes it's really easy to be like, oh, okay, like the socks that I have, I always use this example, but the socks that I have that have a hole in it, it's time for them to go. Because when we have things in our space, in our life, whether it's a physical object or relationships or even like I found like old journals and things like that that kind of carry energy from like a past time, you know, if they're no longer bringing you, kind of the Marie Kondo idea, if they're no longer bringing you joy, if they're not actually lighting you up, it's time for you to like put them to bed and get rid of them. And really what that does for a generator is opens up space for you to start receiving, because we are like training or communicating with the universe. We're letting the universe know what we're willing to accept in our life. So if you're accepting a job that's like a 30% fit, then the universe is like, oh, okay, you only want a 30% fit. I mean, I don't think it is thought of that way. It's just like, oh, this is what you want. But actually we're here to be co-creating in a way and calling things in that are truly 100%. Generators really, really, and again, I'm talking about generators, manifesting generators have this as well. Their nuance is a little bit different, but we are supposed to get very tuned into what we want and what we don't want, and have the faith and have the courage to say no to the things that are like a 90% fit if you're really like allowing the 100%. So for me, it's a constant practice. And sometimes you say yes to things and allow things in your life that are not that fit, that right fit, and then you learn. So yeah, but hopefully that makes some sense for generators. Yeah. And then I'll move into manifesting generator. No, I said I was going to do manifestors first. So manifestors, they make up about 8% of the population. They have so while generators have I didn't say this, but the generator and manifesting generators aura is very warm, inviting, and open. And you'll also be able to tell, like generators and manifesting generators, when they're really living their purpose or they're really psyched about what they're doing, or what you can just like feel it. They become really sparkly and juicy. This is what people say. This is actually what made me feel better about being a generator, because I'm a Leo, and Leos, I like to feel special and blah, blah, blah. So, but I also started to feel it, like, oh my gosh, when I'm doing this thing, or when I'm researching this thing, or when I'm sharing about human design, I am so freaking jazzed, because I think this information is so important for people to know. And people can feel that from me. And it becomes like a really like magnetizing energy. Generators are easily, and manifesting generator, and MGs are sometimes taken advantage of because, unintentionally, but because the energy is so agreeable, and we're bringing energy that people might want you around. So people might want you to help move. People might want you to come to their party, whatever it is. If it doesn't feel like 100% yes, you have to say no. Side note. Anyway, going back to manifestors. So manifestors make about 8% of the population. They are really the ones that are here to initiate and like trailblaze. So the Nike slogan, just do it, is like, that applies to manifestors. That does not apply to the rest of us. So they're the only ones here that are meant to get things started without having without the co-creation idea. So again, reflectors are waiting a lunar cycle. Projectors are waiting for the invitation. Generators and manifesting generators are waiting to respond. Now, manifesting generators have a little bit of this in them, and there's a specific way to see if you lean more this way or a manifester, but we won't get into that nuance at this moment. It's just with manifestors, their aura is very selective, and what that can look like is that the idea is that it since they're here to sort of initiate and trailblaze, they're the ones that are meant to sort of like start, I'm saying the same words, but like start a movement or, just create something new. So let me explain it this way. Think of manifestors as a train conductor. So the manifestor pops out and is like, hey, all aboard, I'm going from Paris to London, and then gets back in the train and allows whoever wants to do that to jump on, and whoever doesn't can stay out on the platform and wait for their next train, and then the manifestor goes. The intent with the manifestor is that they are not, their biggest thing to decondition is to stop worrying about what other people think of them. So Akinsa, I know that you're a manifestor, and that an idea, a difficult thing, or in our society, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to, you want to make sure that everyone's okay with what you're doing. The other thing is that because manifestors have this energy, we really need you to inform us of what you're doing. So keeping us abreast of this schedule or whatever you're doing, going from London to Paris or from Paris to wherever, we want, like, the more you can inform what you're about to do, the more people will be gravitated toward your energy or be able to tell if they want to be in your energy. Manifestors have the largest energy of all. So when you show up in this world or in a room, my husband's a manifestor, so it's like when he comes in to the room, everyone can feel his energy. And when I talk about that selective aura, it truly is that like some people are vibing with you and some people aren't, and that's okay. And it also can shift, depending on whatever you're getting into. So yeah, that's a big thing for manifestors. I feel like, Akinsa, if you have any questions, or I know you already know about human design, but if you have more to add to that, I can jump on that. You said you want a revolution. So yeah, I was going to call out a very famous manifestor right now, but I'm going to leave that. The thing is, back in the day, manifestors so they're 8%, and we're actually sort of like phasing out of manifestors. So back in the day, they were like the ones who started revolutions, the tribe leaders, the owners and CEOs of companies. Like, they were truly the ones that they flick the domino, and then people show up to kind of carry out the mission. So for you, Akinsa, like, you're not meant to be doing all the work all the time. You're meant to get something started based on the inspiration dropping into you. So that's another sort of intangible thing, but manifestors have to get to understand their relationship to getting those hints and those ideas and those pings of what to do next. And it really just should sound like exciting for you. I have practiced informing. It has changed a lot. Yes. Honestly, I've had to like get my husband to do that more and more. He used to just like come home now that it's COVID time, we're working from home together, but he used to just like bust in. I always say like bust in because it feels like bust in, like big energy in the middle of the day without telling me he was coming home. And it would just like completely shake me out of whatever I was doing, and it would be really stressful. And then I would be upset with him, and then he would get angry. So when manifestors aren't living in their design, they will feel anger. But anyway, this human design has changed my marriage a whole lot. So I can't remember what I was saying about that. Oh, just like being leaders of, I think that's what I was saying, being leaders of revolutions, etc. We don't actually need that style anymore because we are leaving this, way where things are becoming more flowy, I guess. It's hard. We do what we want. Yes, manifestors do what they want. But that's like your design. You're supposed to. And yeah, I feel like the hard work is really like understanding, I think, especially for, people who just don't understand this, like really understanding the magnitude, the power that you have. For all of us, we all yield it in different ways. But the manifester, it's like, oh, wow, you're a manifester. Like my friend just gave birth to a manifester. And I was like, that child is not going to need the same type of parenting that other children will need. Like this child is showing up with the energy. And it's true. It's coming out that way, which is really cool. So there's one other thing I was going to say about it, but I keep getting sidetracked by my own thoughts. There's so much to say. Okay, so last type that I'll share, and then I'll ask a couple, open it up for questions, but also can talk about profiles, since we were putting the profile numbers in there too. And so Age of Aquarius, passion, and yes. Yes, we don't need this energy of this one person kind of dictating or initiating what happens. We're birthing more manifesting generators, which is the way that I like to think about it, is people who can lead with heart, leading from a heart space place versus from their head, which I think is really cool. So manifesting generators, as the title sounds, has a relationship to both manifester and generator. So we say MG for short, and they are working with these two speeds. So the manifestor speed, which is quick, and the generator speed, which is enduring. So being able to, keep going on a project or whatever. So it's interesting, they will have to notice these speeds. So notice when they get information or an inspiration to do something, almost like an impulse, and follow that and let it drop off when it's time to let it drop off. Or stay with something when it feels like it's right to stay with something. Manifesting generators are really the ones that are here to show us that success, that what is meant to be for you in life it's not a linear path. It is very all over the place for them. So manifesting generators can often be considered by our society as flaky or non-committal, or they could freak people out because it's like they can't figure out what's right for them. But truly what's happening is that they need to have the courage to be able to drop something as soon as they're done with it. So manifesting generators, like generators, need to be really lit up by what they're doing. And their path is just going to look different. So for me, even though I had a different career in my early life, that's like a whole other story. I've sort of discovered my space, and I will be in this space probably the rest of my life. Yes, it might evolve and shift and change, but it's not like I'm going to go from being a scientist to being an artist. Like those are completely, well, I'm sure we could all find threads that make them connected. But one example of this is, well, really it's just that you are not living the steps that are A plus B plus C plus D. It doesn't go in that order for you. What manifesting generators really have to understand is that, it's really tuning into what feels good for you right now. And as soon as it doesn't feel good, you have to be able to say no to it. And things are going to always shift for you. So that's really just getting used to learning how to create boundaries, learning how to let people know, so inform them that it's not time anymore. Be wary of committing to things super far in advance. Because, so for example, say I ask you out to lunch and you're 2 weeks in advance and you're like, yeah, that sounds amazing. You're still, that felt like 100% yes. But then when you get closer and closer to lunch, it's just not feeling right anymore, then you need to give yourself permission to reschedule and understand that oftentimes when you do that, it works for the other person too. So keep that in mind. I hope that's helpful. But you're navigating these two speeds, and everything that you're learning or everything that's inspiring you, that if you're truly following that the lead, which is your sacral getting excited, you may not see it right now, but all those things will sort of inform or fold in to what you're doing later. So I actually have a really good friend that I'm planning on bringing into this group to do a little interview, who's a manifesting generator. And it's really fascinating. We studied fashion together. She got into interior design. Then she went back to fashion, and then she started her own company. And now she's going back to interior design. And it's like all these things. When she started her own company, she had to learn like the science behind creating this proprietary wax. And so she was like studying, you know, I can't even think of the the field that she was studying, but all these things, she had to pick up all these skills, but in the moment she was really jazzed about them. And it's interesting to see how it like folds into her path now. So manifesting generators really have to trust that it's okay to be done with something when they're ready to be done with it, and have the permission to say no. Okay, so any questions, please feel free to ask. And oh, Akin said, yeah, parents gave us a lot of space. Yeah, good for your parents. Your parents sounded awesome. Yeah, okay, let's talk profiles. So profiles are the two numbers that everybody was like popping in. So I'll just give some overview of the profiles. I love them. So after understanding your energy type and your authority and your strategy, the next thing I usually dive into with people is their profile. Selfishly, probably because I think it's super fascinating, but it kind of gives you the theme of your life. Oh, Charles 3-5. That is my profile as well. And I'll probably start with that one because I feel so close to it. But it kind of gives you like the theme of, this like theme of your life and the tonality of how life is going to be. So each profile is created with these two numbers. So the 3, the 5, the 1, the whatever, so on and so forth. And the first number, the 3 in this example, if you're looking at Charles's comment, that number is kind of how you relate to yourself. How you relate to yourself. And the 5 is how others see you. So you still feel the energy of both, but if you have the 5 on the outside, oh, thank you. More informed. I was thinking about putting this on YouTube afterward. Thank you, Charles. I really appreciate that. The 5 is how people see Charles mostly. But it doesn't mean that you don't feel that way yourself. So the first number is about you. Second number is about how other people see you. And if you have a smaller number in front and a larger number in the back, so like the 3 and the 5, then you have a personal karma. So the way I look at this is that you focusing on your own growth and development is actually how you serve the world. And then if it's flipped, if the 5 was on the inside, the first number, and then say like a 1 on the outside, then that's a transpersonal karma. So it's actually, you will find more, feel as though you're more in service when you are outward focused, when you are focusing on other people. This is a spectrum, so we all need to be doing inner work and connecting in other ways, but as the 3-5 myself, if it gave me permission and licensing to not feel like I need to go, like the way that I contribute to society doesn't have to be me marching in a I can't think of the right word, a protest. There we go. There are other ways that I contribute that's actually energetically aligned for me. Or like just being, obviously who's not tuned into like what's happening in the world right now. But before all of this stuff kind of hit, it wasn't something like watching the news wasn't something that felt like good to my system. And so I didn't really do it that much, but I always felt really guilty about it. And so someone with a smaller number first and then a larger number, it's not really in the energetic alignment unless you're really interested and it feels like it fuels you for you to be like that person that's like in the front lines, if that makes sense. And Becca, 5-1, always, and with you too, that 5 line, which I know we've talked about this individually, and I'll get into what the tonalities are of the lines, so you can kind of like put together your profile. But the 5 line is like the heretic, is like the hero. It's the one that is, it's in your aura to, save people. We can save people. We're the ones that see that like the building's burning, and we have to be really careful to only say yes to working with people or, kind of like getting into other people's business when it feels really aligned, or else we're not actually going to be the right alignment for them. I don't know if that made sense, but so I'll go into each number. So, and you can kind of just like put this together as we go along. So the 1 line, think about the number 1 being foundational. The 1 line is all about collecting information, building their foundation, understanding all the facts. The 1 feels really comfortable when they know the whole picture of something. So for Becca, other people see her as being really well researched because she's got this, like, the 1 line is on the outside. Even though she might not totally feel like that. Yes, so Pisces, Virgo. Yes, totally. I love that. I love that link, Akinsa. Yeah, and so, yeah, the 1 line is just like, the kind of person that is like, just likes to research, make sure that they have all their ducks in a row, so that things feel like they have a really safe foundation to then move and operate from. So the way that they learn is by like kind of collecting knowledge. The 2 is, they call this the hermit, and which is kind of not a nice name for it. But the 2, anyone with a 2 has some type of just like special genius thing that they are uniquely really good at. And it's really important that they spend time alone, kind of like cultivating that. So that's the hermit piece of it, is that having solid alone time to, I always think of 2s like kind of like a cat-like quality, where when they're ready for you, then they come out, and when they don't want you, they get like irritated if you interrupt them, because they're like working on their special genius. So that's the 2 line. There's just something that they're naturally gifted at that is more apparent than other people. We all have gifts, obviously, but the 2, you're supposed to be here really cultivating that, and giving yourself space to do that alone. The 3 is the martyr, which is a lovely word for that. And it's truly, 3s are here to live, learn through experiencing. So Charles, when I was talking about you earlier, I have a 3-5 as well. A lot of people, I feel like in the comments in the post I made earlier, mentioned 3-5. 3-5s are living a life that is like a roller coaster. And we're actually here to ride the wave and know that nothing is permanent. The highs are not going to stay high, the lows are not going to stay low, and really just like going along for the ride. We're the ones that have to, the 3s in particular, you have to dive into something and experience it for yourself to then be able to integrate it. So if someone is telling you, this is how you do this, this, and this, you're like, cool, great, let me take that information and try it. I need to actually try it to know. It's also that concept of we learn life the hard way. Like, it is actually energetically correct to learn life the hard way. So if someone's giving you advice and telling you that you should do things a certain way, and you resonate with it, but you feel a little bit like, I don't know. Like, just go try it, experiment. We are like the great life experimenter. The 6, so I'm jumping ahead only because the 6 spends the first 30 years of life before Saturn return as a 3. So if you have a 6 in your profile, you also relate to this idea of picking up information by learning, by actually like diving in. Yes, we are destined to find the ways something doesn't work, and by doing that, we get to share that with other people. So we gain wisdom in that way. And also the 3s, because of that, we have like this approachable quality, where other people, because it's like we're like of the earth, we're not, we've failed a lot. That sounds so depressing. But the whole martyr piece comes in because a 3 can often feel like, why me? Like, why is this only not working for me? And it might feel isolating. So just knowing that it's part of your path here to be in these moments that, I mean, for me, my life seems way more dramatic than the lives of people around me. And now it makes freaking sense. So anyway, that's the 3. The 4, okay, if you have a 4 line, I love the 4s. 4s are like these, I always think of them as like bubbly little butterflies. 4s are, I think they call them the networker or something like that, or there's another word that isn't popping into my mind, but I think of 4s as, they're like the natural networkers. So If you have a 4 line and that doesn't feel right for you, but you also have a 2, that's why, because you have this like internal kind of, you have like these 2 energies that you're managing. Oh, Vanessa, good. Yeah. So other people, Vanessa, will see you, like you actually do a lot of research and have foundational information behind the scenes, but other people may not see that, and they might see you as being someone who really experiments. They just don't know about all the information that you already have. So it might feel hard for you to feel like you can act as an authority in a certain area, but Michelle, yes, 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 yes. My mom, I think, is a 1-3 as well. But yeah, it might feel hard. Oh, hey, Melissa, man, all these 1-3s, this is amazing. So yeah, it might feel like you may have trouble feeling like you can like stand as an authority, or that other people might see you as an authority in a certain area, but you just have to trust that, like, well, you've done the research, you kind of get what's going on. Other people just see you as like, especially if you're an MG, which I know Michelle is, like you will just, oh, that's right, Melissa, gotcha, the 2-4. So yes, the 1-3 though, especially if you're an MG, you are to other people this like kind of alien, you know, like, what are you doing? You're doing everything, and it might feel, especially to parents, it could feel like really hard, a hard dynamic. But yes, the 4, if you have the 4 piece, then yeah, other people, Melissa, might see you as social. The thing is, your network, your community is actually super magical for you. So you'll learn about all your bigger opportunities and stuff through a network of people. So it's funny because like I know we met and we've been connecting a lot lately through our mutual friend Vanessa. So it's like, oh, of course you learned like about this information through Vanessa, or we got connected in this way and now we're like more connected. It's also like, you know, finding partners will probably happen that way. My friend who is she's a 2-4. She's an artist, and well, she's an MG, so she's a lot of things. But one of the things, and she's a teacher, one of the things that she got her teaching gig through her kids' school. Like she's actually just teaching so that it's paying for part of their, like her kids' school, the private school. So it's like just all these interesting things come to her, and I watch it like through her. Oh yeah, maybe they call it the opportunistic. I don't know why the name of that is doesn't really matter. But you have this networking ability, but there is this push-pull between the 2-4, that you need your alone time and to cultivate your gifts. And if you are interrupted when you are doing something that you really like, it might not feel very good. And then, yeah, the 4 is like more social. But again, thinking about your opportunities and special things in your life sort of coming through people that you know, or a network or whatever. Let's see, 5, I kind of touched on the 5 a little bit. It's the heretic. It's the, you know, the one that's here to save the day. If it's, you know, for me, if it's the 3-5, if the 5 is on the outside, it's just people, like, I'm the kind of person that people will just like come and tell me all their problems. That's been my thing my whole life. Didn't know that that was just like in my energy, whatever. So now, since I'm in the work that I'm in now, and I'm a generator, it's super, super important that I am just saying yes to the right kind of person, you know, the right kind of person, the aligned person. So not saying yes to go and help somebody that I actually don't have the tools to help. Getting, you know, a 5 just has to be careful to not get in over your head with your ability to help. And again, people just feel it with you, which is nice, but it can be a little bit challenging sometimes because you want to. You also are like, oh, I can see how I can help, so I want to dive in. But, you know, then that gets us into like codependency and things like that. So just being aware and trusting that when you need to say no to somebody, then you're actually opening up space, A, for more of the right alignment for you, but also for that person to find the right alignment for them. So all of this stuff is like win-win. Like what's right for you is actually right for you, and what's not right for you is not right for you, but it's right for somebody else. So you're not like, you're actually giving somebody else the opportunity to work with somebody or to save that person or whatever. Not saving people, but have that save the day mentality elsewhere. Let's see, the 6. Oh yeah, and I'll get into the 6, and then Akeen said that's kind of perfect. The 6, the role model, or some people call it the guru, which I have problems with the word guru, but the 6, for the first 30 years of life will be operating more like a 3. So collecting experiences by diving in and really feeling them out, learning through experimentation. You hit your Saturn return around age 30, and that 3 becomes this like wise version of the 3. So it's like it becomes a 6, and you are you're really able to start taking some of the wisdom that you learned from a 3 and bring it into this like role model space. And then they say when you're around 50, people are going to start to see you and as this role model. So for you, Akinsa, with like the 4 in the front, community is super important to you. It's actually like you probably love being social. I know you a little bit. You are a Leo sun. But yeah, having like your crew around you is really important, and you'll get, again, opportunities through your crew. But you'll also then, as you age, become this like role model for other people, which is really cool. I have a lot of 6-2s in my life, and thinking about the 6 as like their internal line, because anyone with a 6 line is you're just gonna know a lot about life because you've experienced it and then you've created wisdom out of it. And the 6-2 can sometimes come off as like, they're just really quick in processing and understanding things. And so like if you can't keep up with them, then it's like they can get frustrated. That too will happen. Oh, you're just, thanks, Akinsa. You're just like, gotcha. You're a 5-1. Oh, amazing, like Becca. So, of course you have a 5 in your line if you're doing healing work. So, anyway, those are the profiles. Gosh, there's like so many fun things. That's pretty much like, yeah, I mean, I think I already touched on a couple of the other things I was going to mention. And there's just so much more to get into, really. But I hope this was helpful. Like I mentioned, in this, wherever it goes in the live, I have 2 time slots for human design workshop where we'll go deeper into teaching you how to work your way around a chart. So that is going to be on Sunday, September 20th or Thursday, September 24th. So I wanted to pick times that would just maybe be doable for people. This will be live. I will be recording it, and then probably after doing these 2, I just won't do them live anymore. So if you want to tune in and have questions, and like we can really get into your chart specifically, and help you to understand your way around. I'll just be teaching like how to effectively read a chart. So if you look up your family, you understand, family or friends, whatever. We'll be looking at how to master your energy type. So kind of like more practical tools on getting into your energy and what you need to say yes to, what you need to say no to. The more about the profiles, that running theme of your life, practical ways to find alignment, how to activate your manifestation power. So even though there's a type that's called manifestor and, other types, we all have this power to manifest or call in or align with what you want in your life. We're headed toward a space where we are not meant to effort and effort and effort. I know I keep talking about this. Life is it's about this like energetic vibration of getting into the flow and allowing what you want, creating space within you to allow what you want to show up. It's way more fun. So we'll talk about specifically how you operate based on your chart, and then your inherent fears and how to reframe them as intuition. The optimal way to digest life, including food. So digest from like anything, books you're reading, people's energy, and food. Your relationship to creativity, motivation, and external pressure, and a whole bunch more. Like I said, it's 2 hours, and yeah, it'll be recorded. And I think I also put a link in there to do, if you just wanted to do like a one-on-one private reading, I also have that offering as well. But this was so fun, and I'm so glad I'm so glad the comments worked, and I'm so glad you guys joined. And yeah, I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to reach out to me directly or post it on the video. And otherwise, man, we kept it right under an hour. Perfect. Well, have a beautiful evening. We'll talk soon.